Good morning, I'm Silvio with the GIO Sky Tracker 7. Let's have a look at those roads around Sydney this morning. In Blacktown, Blacktown Road, 4-car accident. That earlier praying there. All delays back to the Cumberland Highway from Prospect Highway. Elsewhere, the Hume Highway, St Andrews to the M7 moving reasonably well this morning. Not too bad through Beretta, the F3 final few Ks into Sydney. We are flying over the M5. As you can see, it's pretty much a dream run this morning. Looking the goods if you're making your way back to work this morning. For added peace of mind when you are on the hot water, talk to GIO about boat insurance. Call 131010 or visit gio.com.au. More traffic in half an hour on Sunrise.
We're talking wedding disasters this morning. A bridegroom horribly late because of the floods in northern New South Wales.
So he says.
So he says. But all's well that ends well because they finally got married about 3 hours late. We've had here an email from Rachel. Wedding disaster. I was bridesmaid about 8 years ago. The bride got into a stand-up argument with her new husband because he danced with his own sister. She then proceeded to slap him in the face.
Ooh,
fireworks. Surprisingly, they're still married.
Wow.
That's okay.
Gosh.
Whatever works for you.
Doesn't dance with his sister anymore.
How about this one? I went to a wedding on the weekend, just gone, and the ex-wife of the groom turned up uninvited and decided to sit at the bridal table.
Oh, no.
Now, there's a photo for the pool room. Straight up on the mantelpiece, that photo.
Would that have been an icy moment or what?
I know, a bit of photoshopping. Just sort that out.
Poor form on the ex's part there, I do.
Yeah. You told us before you may have a little sneaky.
I have got one. I've got a ripper here from Megan too. Poor old Megan. Her wedding last year. Wrong flowers turned up from the florist, colour type, and later tried to blame her. Then the honeymoon flight was delayed many times before eventually being cancelled. Finally, they got to where they were going overseas for their honeymoon, and their accommodation had been cancelled. So that was just a gem. But look,
that's an early test of a relationship.
Yes, isn't it? If you survive that, you'll be fine. A friend of mine, Jackie, at her wedding just didn't last the first night. Went home with mum and dad. Never made it beyond the opening night.
Sorry, if I give you another opportunity to do that, would you drop her name or would you leave the name in still?
No, it's still
go with it.
Yeah,
right, so tell us what happened to Jackie then.
Well, Jackie's wedding night just didn't go too well. Her husband, for those few hours, just had a very big night, and she said, "No, enough's enough." Went home with the mum and dad, and that was that.
Was there a ring exchange, or he just...
Yeah, deal was done.
This is the
house, rings, the whole lot. Yeah, this is a reception, big night, and she said, "No, not for me."
So how long? Really? A couple of hours?
3, 4 hours.
Does 4 hours entitle you to half the estate or not?
I think once the rings go on, the vows are done. You're in. That's it.
The deal's done, baby.
And if Jackie's former husband is out there watching this morning, I'd like to email.
Give us a call or get your lawyers to call us.
Here's a nice lovey-dovey story. The news this morning that Guy Sebastian and his girlfriend Jules are engaged. Congratulations, Guy. We've had an email here from Prince who says that's so great. They're a wonderful couple. I'm just surprised the man's had time to even get down on his knee. We're all so thrilled here on the fan forum. Up to 17 pages on Guy's website already.
Wow.
News of
well done. And of course, we'll be crossing live to that wedding when it happens. Shortly on the show, we'll ask who should pay for lap band surgery for people as young as 14, plus the man who celebrates Christmas each and every day of the year.
Right now, though, it's time for a news hit with Simon.
Thank you, Cars. Good morning once again, everyone. New South Wales Premier Maurice Yemma is expected to declare more natural disaster zones when he visits the flood-ravaged north this morning. Townships on the Richmond and Wilsons rivers could be cut off for days as waters start to slowly subside. Last night, the Richmond River peaked at just under 7 metres at Corrikai and is now falling. But further downstream, residents have been sandbagging homes and businesses at Woodburn, where the river's expected to hit 4.5 metres on the high tide at 10:30 this morning. The Tweed and Kyogle local government areas have already been declared natural disaster zones. Across the border in Queensland, flood levels in the Logan and Albert rivers are falling, but the region's dams are at 23% and rising, while another low-pressure system is bearing down on the southeast, but it's not expected to deliver the deluge that hit the region on the weekend. And in the far north, ex-tropical cyclone Helen is whipping up big waves and heavy rain as it crosses the western coast of Cape York. Drug and alcohol workers want tougher regulations on the way. Lollies are marketed to children. They're calling on a Sydney company to stop selling sweets packaged in blister strips, similar to headache tablets.
It blurs the lines between what is medication and what is confectionery. So, you know, potentially children are going to take medication thinking that it's confectionery.
Young children in New South Wales were rushed to hospital late last year when they mistook heart-shaped ecstasy pills for lollies. Italy's Prime Minister has ordered Naples schools to reopen despite fears that festering piles of rubbish could spread disease. Residents have been dumping their rubbish on the city's outskirts for 2 weeks after garbage trucks stopped operating because all the landfills are full. The government wants to reopen an old site, but protesting locals say it's a health hazard. Several schools have vowed to defy the government order and remain closed.
Sunrise Local News.
A crime scene has been established at a house south of Newcastle where the bodies of a couple were found yesterday. Police say the 41-year-old woman and 50-year-old man had suffered severe head and body injuries. They were found in their Caves Beach home by a relative. Detectives have taken several items from the home for forensic tests. Police are hunting a group who ram-raided an electrical store on Sydney's North Shore early this morning. They drove a vehicle through the Neutral Bay shop around 2:30 a.m. before stealing a number of items, including digital cameras and MP3 players. The agency responsible for monitoring workplace bullying is investigating allegations its own staff have been victims of workplace harassment. WorkCover New South Wales will form a task force to address the problem after surveys revealed a culture of fear and unhappiness among its employees. The controversial HSC English topic of postmodernism has been dumped by the Board of Studies after a long campaign by the former Howard government. Well, he might have been addicted to that elevator love, but that elevator has stopped on the top floor. Ding. Guy Sebastian has finally popped the question to long-term girlfriend Jules Egan. And what girl could possibly turn down this gorgeous white gold ring set with 140 diamonds, not bought at the silk markets in Beijing, Larry? But just to make sure her Australian idol also threw in a beachside holiday house, a new car and a Louis Vuitton handbag. It does sound like an episode of The Price is Right, that doesn't it?
Pretty much. I wonder if she was able to put them all in order from least expensive to most expensive.
If you were her and you...
Well, just very good. He's very quick, isn't he? I mean,
that's
first
all I
day
got,
back from holidays, and he's right on the money.
If you were sort of wavering on whether to say yes, not the handbag would have been the clincher. Girls,
yeah, that's right. I think
would have sealed the deal.
So after the ring, the car and the holiday, you're still pondering.
Yep.
You just get the bag and that's it.
Louis Vuitton.
I bet you was looking at the board going, where's my VCR?
Yes.
Where's my white goods?
There's a wash in the fridge.
And speaking of handbags, now that we haven't brought that up yet, have we? But you did, didn't you? That was the nothing present.
Oh, yeah.
The nothing Christmas present.
Oh, this is
That's a whole other story.
That's a whole other story.
I was completely...
You didn't know what to get.
Completely set up. No, Rach said, I said to Rach, what do you want for Christmas? She said, nothing. And you know, she said, no, look, you know, we've had a great year, we're going away, da-da-da-da. And I took it at that. And then I came in here and mentioned to Koshi and Mel, she said nothing. And they've gone,
nothing.
That old
Never
chestnut.
means nothing.
So then the alarm bells were ringing and away we went. So I decided I'd ring a girlfriend, as you do, and say, look, what's the ultimate present? What can I really get Rach? And turns
Not an
out,
ex-girlfriend, I hope.
No, a friend of Rachel's. Turns out she really wanted a handbag. She spotted a handbag, and coincidentally, the whole family went shopping a few weeks before, and she took us past the store, and it didn't clink with me at the time.
What a coincidence.
Of course it did.
So there we were. Anyway, so we went down there, and I snuck back, got the handbag. She opens up Christmas Day. Oh, great. Turns out she knew that I would ring this girlfriend. She had rung her and said, I want this navy handbag. It's this one. It's in this store. And I was completely set up. You know, like
what a great story.
It was an insight into how the female mind works. She was so far ahead of us.
Exactly. So long as we know that, Brett, life is good.
Just accept it.
And that's the end of sport now. So we just chewed up that whole time. Here he is.
Get back to business. Sorry about that. India is standing by Harbhajan Singh after the spinner was slapped with a 3-test ban for racial abuse. The team had threatened to pull out of the series, but has now opted to lodge an appeal instead. Harbhajan was found guilty by match referee Mike Proctor of calling Andrew Simons a monkey. Indian officials will also lodge a formal complaint against the umpires in the second test and Brad Hogg. They say Hogg used excessive language. Aussie fast bowler Brett Lee has shrugged off the latest string of controversy surrounding the game. He claims we should be enjoying Australia's remarkable win over India in the second test, where Michael Clarke made a late charge, sending the visitors packing.
we can turn it back on, the great game of cricket and, the way that, it was played. I think, it was played in the right spirit of the match. Unfortunately for these incidents, sometimes happen. Hopefully it's been dealt with, and, we can move on and go to Perth now.
Australia will be aiming to create a new record in Perth in the third test with 17 consecutive wins. Leighton Hewitt says he's used to the pressure of being Australia's only male hope at the Australian Open, while Hewitt enjoys the first round off at the Medibank International. A few other Aussies are in action today. Peter Luchak is on centre court against veteran Frenchman Sebastian Grosjean. Wildcard Greg Jones and Alan Jones are also up. Despite exiting the Adelaide International prematurely, Leighton Hewitt is confident he'll bounce back ahead of the Australian Open. We're all set for his Australian Open campaign. He's in action tomorrow. And the tennis is right here on 7 today. Controversial racing steward Ray Murray says he's not out to win popularity contests, but enforce the rules at the track. He copped a stack of criticism for his decision to uphold the protest in Saturday's Villiers Stakes at Randwick, which cost takeover target victory. Murray maintains the popular sprinter's interference hampered the run of honour in war, and his decision would have been the same if it was Far Lap or Kingston Town. Simon, I know you like your racing, and that was a spectacular finish.
Wasn't it?
Either way, wasn't it? Look at that. Just a nose in it.
Not happy punters. Trackside at Randwick, yeah.
All right, thank you guys. Coming up to 8 minutes past 8 on Sunrise.
Sunrise weather. Protected by UV Triple Guard Colourtech sunscreen. Goes on colour, rubs in clear, so you don't miss a spot.
Alrighty, let's take a look at your back-to-work weather. A broad trough of low pressure over eastern New South Wales will fade away today, and a weak ridge of high pressure will move up the New South Wales coast. Now, as Simon told you, ex-tropical cyclone Helen may redevelop into a Category 1 cyclone before crossing the coast early today. Wind gusts of up to 90 kilometres per hour may develop between Weipa and Mornington Island. Taking a look at the capital cities, Brisbane can expect some isolated showers and 31 degrees. The 5-day forecast there shows rain for the rest of the week. Into Sydney, there will be some cloud around today, reaching a top of 25, but the outlook shows showers forecast for tomorrow and Wednesday. Melbourne will be fine and 25 today, but temperatures will move into the 30s during the week. Clear skies reaching a top of 29 degrees in Adelaide. It'll be very hot over the next couple of days with some low cloud around on Thursday. Thunderstorms expected in Perth today. Looking ahead, it will be fine tomorrow though. A few showers expected on Wednesday. A look at the rest of the country. Canberra will be fine and 31. 24 degrees expected in Hobart today, while Darwin will be 33 and stormy.
Thank you, Kylie.
I think voted most sexy weather voice too, I think.
Yep.
That's good. I'm impressed.
On the table of 4.
Oh, no. It's a substantial table.
Chic.
Thank you. More weather for you shortly with Kylie. Well, around 20% of adults now obese. Lap band surgery is becoming more and more common. It's safe, it's generally successful, but at $10,000, it is expensive.
Medical experts say young people respond the best, and they're now trialling the surgery on teenagers who are as young as 14. But is this the best way to deal with the problem, and who should pay for it? Slightly under the weather, Dr. Douglas Travis from the AWA joins us now. Good morning to you, Doctor.
Good morning, Kylie. And yeah, I'm not quite that far under the weather, but hopefully you can hear me.
Oh dear, can't you take something for that, Doc? Can't you prescribe something for yourself?
Don't you know anyone?
I do, and I'm on the way there.
Oh, that sounds a little bit better. Let's get underway. We'll see how we go. Should the public pay for these surgeries? We're talking lap band. That's where a band is put around the stomach to constrict it, to restrict the appetite.
Yes, the severely obese people have a severe medical problem. If they are not treated, then they will, in the future, develop illnesses that are likely to cause significant problems. Diabetes, high blood pressure, and increased risk of sleep apnea, and at times they may even get cancer. So it's cheaper to treat these people to lose weight and therefore prevent them getting these other more serious illnesses.
Doctor, is there a perception out there that this type of surgery is in fact an easy option?
Well, that may be the perception. It's not the reality. It is serious surgery. These are high-risk patients because they are very overweight, so it should not be done lightly. This is a treatment of last resort, not the first thing you do.
There are currently trials on kids as young as 14. Now, is surgery the answer for them? Because I'm assuming at 14, mum and dad are still cooking their dinners, making their lunches. They don't have money. They're not earning money. They're not old enough to earn money for themselves yet. So why a 14-year-old?
Well, Kylie, that's the lower limit. It's really in the group from 14 to 18. And the reason for doing a trial is to see if it is the right thing to do. We don't know those answers. Certainly in young adults, 20s, 30s, it is the right thing to do. And as you previously said, it is reasonably safe, it is effective and cost-effective.
All right, Doctor, what makes someone suitable for this type of surgery?
Well, firstly, they have to be very overweight. Secondly, they have to have tried to lose weight through the more conventional, less invasive methods and obviously failed. And this is the last resort.
All righty. Doctor, thank you very much for your time this morning and for making the trip for us when you're clearly under the weather. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Kylie.
Okay.
Some honey and lemon. See, that's the first time I've ever been able to tell a doctor what to do. Honey and lemon, that's the way.
I'm sure he's listening, taking notes. Still to come, why more men are becoming fathers at an older age. Now, we're going to hear a beautiful personal story at 8:40.
But after the break, does Dr. Hanif deserve compensation after being cleared of those terrorism charges? That's next on Sunrise.
Says he's telling the truth, but why doesn't anything add up? Could this one phone call change everything? Borderline, tonight, 7:30.
If you have been taking a course of antibiotics, a probiotic such as Inner Health Plus may assist with maintaining the balance of good bacteria. Inner Health Plus, available at pharmacies and health food stores.
Have you had your Inner Health Plus today?
This new year, upgrade your resolution with a widescreen Inspiron from Dell. This Inspiron 6400 comes with an Intel Core Duo processor, preloaded genuine Windows Vista Home Basic, 2 gig of memory shared with graphics, a 160 gig hard drive, and a 15.4-inch widescreen display, all for just $9.99, including delivery. Buy online at dell.com.au/TV or call 13 35 53. Offer available until January 10, 2008 or while stocks last. Terms and conditions apply.
This summer, make a fast pit stop for new tyres at Bob Jane T-Marts. We'll fit Maxxis for small cars for just $69 each, or get an A1 ride on Yokohama A-Drives for just $79. We'll fit them fast, so you'll be in and out in a flash. At Bob Jane T-Marts, we guarantee nobody beats these prices. There's only one place to save on tyres this summer, Bob Jane T-Marts. Call 13 26 25.
Ants are a nuisance in and around the home. Control them with Mortein Ant Sand, specially developed to kill ants before they invade your home. Simply sprinkle and sweep where ants live. Stop ants outside before they get inside with Mortein Ant Sand.
I got him!
Summer doesn't get any better than this. A new creamier experience from Weiss. Rich vanilla bean ice cream and real crushed raspberries, the Weiss way.
There's so much more in New Idea.
And this week, Guy Sebastian's Wedding Joy. And just look at that ring. Terry Irwin's touching message from Steve. Celebrity Baby Boom. Jen's Beach Bump. And Nicole Home to Roost. While Jake and Reese play Happy Families. Shark Attack Horror. How I Fought Back. And Meet a Medical Miracle. Also in New Idea, great holiday extras with bonus summer fiction, family fun discount coupons, and your astrology guide for the year ahead. New Idea, out now.
Honda's huge January sale is now on with massive Honda savings. The funky fuel-efficient Jazz comes with free Rego CTP and a 5-year warranty with roadside assist. Hurry in for Honda's huge January sale.
When we need a car, we call Thrifty, Australia's best value car and truck rental.
Well, former terror suspect Mohammed Hanif has certainly been through a lot in recent months. The Indian doctor was detained by Australian authorities back in July after his phone card was linked to a failed bombing. Charges were later dropped, but then his work visa was cancelled.
That has since been reinstated by a court, allowing Dr Hanif to return to Australia. And now it's been revealed he's hoping for compensation from the government. So, should he get that, and should he continue working as a doctor here? Sounds pretty Australian, doesn't it? We're looking for compo. Let's ask our Monday All-Stars, Nicole Sheffield from Pacific Magazines and John Mangos from The Morning Show. Good morning to you both. John, should he get compo?
No, he shouldn't get compo. Let's put it right back into the perspective of the event. Australian Federal Police acted with alacrity when they got the tip-off from UK police about the SIM card. Now, at that time, they didn't know that that information wasn't correct, but they had to work with alacrity, otherwise he'd have been on his one-way ticket back to India, right? They detained him to ask him questions. He wasn't convicted, and he certainly wasn't sentenced or jailed, right? He was detained. For those reasons, he does not deserve compensation. The cops, Australian Federal Police, worked with the information that they had, which was the information from the UK police. The fact that that information didn't turn out to be all that great in the end, let's just go back to the climate of the time. It was pretty scary stuff. It was a pretty nasty incident. So I don't blame our Australian Federal Police whatsoever. They did the right thing. It turned out retrospectively that they didn't get such good information.
This man's reputation has been ruined. I mean,
I don't think it has. I don't think it has because he's been
we all know who Dr Hanif is.
Yeah.
Do we think, you know, we associate him now, whether we like it or not, as a terrorist suspect. I mean, that's the reality. And so I think that, I mean, I don't know necessarily whether he should get compo. I'm not saying that for sure, but to act as if he downright doesn't deserve anything, I think is wrong.
What do you think he deserves then? If he doesn't deserve compo, what does he deserve?
It deserves a review. It deserves a review where at least we look at this. I mean, clearly, it was almost like it was a knee-jerk reaction. We're inexperienced here, but it was not, I don't think, managed.
It wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. It was a reaction to information from British police. Do you think the Australian Federal Police are going to say to the UK authorities, look, that's a good tip-off, but wait till you really check out the SIM card thing first before we'll go and arrest him? By then, he's on his one-way ticket to India, and if it had been found that he was a terrorist, we, the Australians, would be accused of letting him slip through our fingers. I mean, you've got to try and be fair. The cops are damned if they do, damned if they don't. And this is one instance where they did act with alacrity and did the right thing for Australia.
He was detained for some time.
That's exactly right. I mean,
a couple of weeks, I think it was.
Yeah, at least.
But it's not 6 months in jail, and it's not a conviction. Right?
Yeah,
he was
still, everybody, I mean, his reputation is ruined. I'm not saying he should definitely get compo.
You know what his compensation is? The fact that we may well allow him to come back to Australia. That in itself is a big reward.
Well, would a terrorist who'd been uncovered want to return to Australia?
That I think is...
Well, that's up to him,
You know, that's right. I mean, that's a whole separate issue. Would he want to come back? And would people go to him as a doctor? I mean, that's the reality. I mean,
well, if he was in the public system, they wouldn't have a choice. He'd be there working anyway.
That's right.
But I don't know that the whole situation has been cleared up to the satisfaction of most Australians.
And I also am not sure that we know all the facts.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I think there's a lot of facts that are around now at the moment that we're not aware of. And I think that's what I'm talking about. When it needs to be reviewed, I think all the facts need to be assessed before we say yes or no to compo.
Okay, moving on. There's a fascinating real-life soap opera on the internet. Letters from a World War I British soldier are being published on the net by his grandson. Now, the notes from Private Harry Lamon are being posted exactly 90 years after the day they were written. So now people around the world are waiting to find out what happened to Harry in January 1918. He's already written to his family about life in the trenches and fighting Fritz in freezing temperatures. Nicole, do you reckon this is a rather clever use of technology? It teaches us a lot about the Great War.
I love this. I think this is a fabulous story because for lots of reasons. Firstly, it's kind of like there's a 90-year gap here and it feels real. It feels like it's happening. And what a great way to teach this generation about the Great War, because the reality is this generation loves information in bite-sized bits. So the fact the family who is doing this, which I think is great as well, releasing each letter as each day as it happens, I think is great because it is like a soap opera. You want to wait for the next instalment. We all want to know what's happening, and at the same time, it's real. And I mean, it's reality TV at its best. I love it.
So you love it, and a lot of people obviously love it. But would Harry love it, John, or would he be looking at this going, "These are my private letters"? And there it is from
Yeah, no, I think Harry would love it because he wrote the letters. It documented his life at the time. Australia fell in love with the Sullivans, and that was Second World War. This is the real deal going back to the First World War. This is just delightful stuff. And I think, from what I gather about this guy, a true blue, fair income Aussie digger, he'd be loving knowing that we're reading about him and reading about his mates and life in the trenches. I think he'd be a very proud Australian because I think he'd take it as if he were representing all of his mates, not just his own story.
And what a great idea by the grandson.
Sensational.
Oh,
Congratulate the family. I think it's just
wonderful.
a wonderful honour.
All right, how about this one, finally? If you can't get enough of Christmas, you need to meet this guy, this English guy. He's known as Mr. Christmas. Andy Park has celebrated Christmas every single day since 1993. Every single morning he hangs decorations. He must have a big house. He enjoys fruit mints. He must have a big waist. And he even reopens presents that he bought for himself. OK, so he also has Christmas lunch every single day. He watches the Queen's speech on tape. That tells us everything we need to know about you right there, pal.
You had me until then.
Yeah. The divorced father says it all makes him feel happy. John, is he happy or is he nuts?
He's a little bit mad, but then as Zorba the Greek said...
Oh, gosh.
a man needs a little madness, otherwise he dare not cut the rope and be free. And if he's feeling free and wants to celebrate Christmas every day, what's it to us to spoil his fun? Let him go for it. He's not hurting anybody.
But who could go through Christmas every day?
Obviously, Zorba.
Zorba. Like Christmas every day, the chaos, the headaches. I just kind of think, I don't know. The whole point of Christmas is it's special. Not to mention, it's a religious, a celebration. So, we're supposed to be celebrating, Christ's birthday. You can't be celebrating it every day. It's strange.
But that's his little thing. He must be well resourced because he gives himself presents, one of which was a Mercedes. So he's obviously not short of a quid. And I've got a friend who says bar humbug at Christmas because we say goodwill to man. It's a nice time for goodwill to man. He says bar humbug Christmas. I display goodwill to man every other day of the year. And maybe that's where this guy's coming from.
No, I just think he's sitting there watching the Queen's tape. Hello.
Yeah, I think...
And eating mince pie. He's got nothing better to do.
No, but guess what? We're all talking about him.
He needs to get out a little bit, maybe. OK, guys, thank you very much.
I wonder if he'd put the Queen's speech on his iPod if he did have to leave the house. Because you wouldn't want to miss it. Sit there on the train, have a look at that.
Hey, John's going to be back with us later this hour.
Yeah. John's very excited about it too.
When we talk about the growing ranks of fathers over 40. Oh, we're giving your age away, John. That's OK, though, isn't it? We get to meet his gorgeous little baby, too. That's at 8:40.
It's a scoop, too.
Thanks,
but
Nicole.
thanks, Nicole. Thank you. But this morning's headlines and today's weather next for you on Sunrise right here on 7.
Kitchen! Am I yelling? I can't help it! Oh, hon, you married a stripper. I look...
Brand new That 70s Show. Weeknights at 7.